Privileged to grow up in the shadow of the north side of Mount Hood in the community of Parkdale. And it was there that I began my lifelong attachment to Mount Hood and all that it has to offer. All of us who are long-standing residents of the Hood River Valley simply refer to Mount Hood as the mountain. Even though our valley is treated with wonderful views of Mount Hood to the south and majestic Mount Adams to the north, whenever a local says something like, "Hey, did you see all that fresh snow on the mountain today?" there's no doubt that they're referring to Mount Hood. And I'm sure this is equally true for the other communities that surround our mountain as well. Since Lewis and Clark first surveyed our glorious region and state back in the early 1800s, Mount Hood has captured the attention of all who have come this way. Throughout the 18 and 1900s, Mount Hood grew to become the most recognizable symbol of our state, and with the growth of Portland just 50 miles away, became a magnet for a variety of outdoor recreational activities that continue to grow and flourish. And its snowfields and glaciers provide the vital runoff that sustains our world-class agriculture on all sides of the mountain. In 1937, Franklin Roosevelt, I don't know if I have it here or not, I thought I had it. President Roosevelt came to dedicate Timberline Lodge. And I'll go off of memory. He said generations are going to come after us to avail themselves of the recreational opportunities on this mountain here at Timberline Lodge. And this will be throughout the seasons. It's going to be winter, it's going to be summer. And this is truly going to become a destination. And our president was prophetic because that exactly is what happened. And that's what brings us to the present tense. This past fall, a constituent brought to my attention that there's never been an Oregon personalized license plate featuring Mount Hood. We have salmon, we have wine, we have Crater Lake, but there is no Mount Hood, and I was surprised. I mean, there's nothing. We've never honored Mount Hood's highest peak. We've never honored the place that has the only year-round ski resort in the U.S. Great idea. What can I do to help? And that became House Bill 3027, which you find in front of you today. One of my great joys as the representative of House District 52 has been engaging in intentional efforts to try to create a sense of shared interest and collaboration with the various communities on all sides of the mountain. In recent years, we have seen tremendous growth in the recreational, biking, and pedestrian opportunities in the region. From the Sandy Ridge Mountain Bike Park system to the completion of the paved trail that now links Cascade Locks to Portland. And you'll notice perhaps on OLIS that we have actually a schematic from ODOT that talks about the trail that was just recently completed linking Portland to Cascade Locks and the proposed trail going all the way to the Dalles, actually, which would link that area as well. There's a huge and growing interest in developing biking and hiking opportunities to promote economic growth and tourism in the region. So we crafted House Bill 3027 so that any proceeds from the sale of these plates will go back to the region through Travel Oregon, and they can award grants back to the area based on proposals that are brought to them from the region. So, Madam Chair and Committee, this bill, I believe, is certainly a win-win. It's a win for our region. It would be a win for the state of Oregon to at last have a plate that honors our timeless and treasured and transcendent icon of Mount Hood. So with that, we have some folks who've come here from the district to tell you about their excitement for this and how these resources could benefit them and their regions.
My name is George Wilson. I'm a business owner for, I own Mount Hood Bicycle in Welches. I also am the primary organizer for the Mount Hood Bicycle Pedestrian Coalition. And I'm also here to represent Velodirt and Oregon Bikepacking. And I'm here to endorse the House Bill 3027. I think that it certainly makes sense for rural communities specifically, although these funds will be generated throughout the state, the way I understand it. But for rural Oregonians, we've always had a significant problem trying to raise funds to enhance infrastructure that would enhance cycling tourism for our area. It certainly makes sense, being as how Travel Oregon has launched a campaign that identifies two of our landmarks in Oregon, which would be Mount Hood and the Columbia River Gorge. The two of those combined on one license plate would certainly be, I think, an item that people would be attracted to and would be willing to purchase. The important thing is that those funds come back to areas that have been struggling to try to develop infrastructure and improve safety. So we totally endorse House Bill 3027 and appreciate your time.
Great, thank you so much. And I believe we have maps of some pertinent bike infrastructure in front of us, too, that were submitted to us. Thank you very much. Any questions for this panel?
Oh, I just, one brief one.
Yes, Vice Chair Gorsuch.
Are you tied in? I know that the Gresham Chamber of Commerce has been trying to create some interest around bicycle tourism or to enhance it. Are you tied in with that?
Yes, we are. In fact, just had a meeting with the Gresham Chamber last week.
Okay.
They're absolutely instrumental in helping us move forward with what we feel will benefit both of us and everybody along the corridor, the Mount Hood corridor. So the idea is to tap into cycling tourism and make it an international destination. And I think that this will be very helpful in helping us to do that.
Members of the committee, I'm Marcy Slater. I live in Welches on Mount Hood, and I'm representing the villages at Mount Hood Board of Directors. And we are an advisory board for the Clackamas County Commissioners. And we 100% support House Bill 3027. We are a very small community that supports a very large tourism industry on Mount Hood, maybe one of the largest tour industries in the state. And we are part of the largest geographic county in the state. Most of the people that live in the community are supporting the tourism on the mountain, around the mountain. So we are in full support of that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you for taking the time to be here today.
Chair McEwen and the committee, thank you very much for having us here today. My name is Bob Thurman and my wife Margaret.
Welcome.
We represent ourselves, to begin with, Welches Mountain Properties. Our company is located on Welches Road in Welches. And also, we're speaking on behalf of Skyway Bar and Grill and Zigzag, a Mount Hood Bicycle Pedestrian Coalition, Mount Hood Ski Bowl, Port of Hood River, Port of Cascade Locks, Paul Blackburn, Mayor of Hood River, West Columbia Gorge Chamber of Commerce, and Oregon Recreation and Park Association. I have some remarks I'd like to read, begin with. Mount Hood is the second most climbed mountain in the world, second only to Japan's Mount Fujiyama, because Mount Hood is a celebrity icon. It deserves, in our opinion, a unique license plate that is an affirmation, if you will, of the connectivity of nature, business, and recreation and recreation of our spirit. With increased popularity of hiking and biking, we need to provide more funding and support for these growing tourist activities to promote more economic growth. And we'd like to call your attention specifically to one Mount Hood biking success story featured in the Wall Street Journal, dated a few years ago, July 27, 2011. And Margaret's going to point to
We brought
their
a little
focus.
piece of mountain history that shows you the loop.
Oh, that's cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's a blow up from flyer that we picked up at the Mount Hood Cultural Center in Government Camp. And it's from the 30s. In fact, it's old enough, it does not even show Timberline Lodge on here. So it's been promoting the mountain and tourism for a long time. I put a little spot on the map, and he's going to be talking about Sandy Ridge. He's going to read from the Wall Street Journal.
One of the most extensive flow trail networks. A flow trail is a biking trail that mimics skiing downhill on a bicycle. Sandy Ridge is in the foothills of Mount Hood, Oregon, has cost about $700,000 to build since 2009, and another $300,000 or so to complete trailhead facilities. And this was remarks made by a BLM planner, Adam Milnor, I should say, BLM in Salem, Oregon. And continuing, Taxpayers foot little, if any, of the extra expense for the flow trails. Trail managers say the money comes from such sources as grants and recreation fees that truly helps pay for it themselves by bringing in more visitor traffic. At Oregon's Sandy Ridge, 25,000 visitors a year, and this was in 2011, make use of a 6.5-mile network of flow trails constructed since 2009. The undeveloped trail prior to that time had only 500 users in a year. For this article, Sandy City Manager Scott Lazenby was interviewed, and he was hoping that local businesses would pick up on the whole idea of mountain biking and have this coordination and collaboration between the two. Of course, Scott is now city manager of Lake Oswego. Last month, on a Saturday in February, Margaret and I observed 98 cars at Sandy Ridge in Brightwood, where we live. These were bikers of all ages, from toddlers with their three-wheel bicycles with training wheels in the parking lot to seniors. We'd like to end by asking your consideration for a mounted license plate that reflects our pride of place and supports economic development in our area. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thurman. Ms. Thurman, did you have any comments to make?
You know, I just feel that the mountain, we do attract a lot of tourism. The last 2 winters, skiing has not been very good for the mountain. You know, this spring, this winter, all the trailheads are full of cars. Sandy Ridge has been very popular. You know, anything we can do to create more infrastructure to support bikers, hikers, people that want to enjoy the mountain when the slopes are not really providing all the snow we need for recreation.
Thank you
We
so
need
much.
lots of options on the mountain.
Committee members, do you have questions for this panel? Yes, Vice Chair Davis.
Thank you, Chair. And I'll just ask the same question I asked the last panel. Any sense from you or anybody else who testified about the demand and how many, the numbers that this could produce?
You know, not really knowing, but my feeling, personal feeling, Mount Hood is, everybody claims that it's its symbol. Portland says it's our mountain. You know, we say it's our mountain, we live up there. It's very popular, a lot of people up there. I think it's a major representative and an icon for our state. I think it would be a very popular option.
Endless numbers of people.
Endless numbers.
Might like to have that license.
Tons of people, if you will.
And there's a big enough biking community, if they know it's going to help create more biking and hiking, you know, infrastructure, I would think that would influence people's choices as well.
If you want to be natural, if you want to be organic, come to Mount Hood.
A good logo. Representative Bentz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just to build on that thought, do you guys have a budget for selling the plate? In other words, it's one thing to hope everybody will buy it, but perhaps you have something in mind to market it.
You know, Mark was the one talking about that, so I'm not quite sure how to answer that.
Would you like to join us, Representative? I think we have a 4th chair here.
You can do that, no problem.
We have 2 minutes left on this panel, so your time is good.
Chairman and Rep. Bentz, we have extensive support from chambers of commerce and other private individuals. You heard Ski Bowl referenced. I think Timberline Lodge is also supportive of Mount Hood Meadows. So I don't have any doubts about being able to raise the capital necessary to go forward with the first edition. So lots of support around the mountain.
One follow-up.
Yes, sir.
And consistent with the concept of marketing, is there, what's the scheme when it comes to designing the plate that's going to be so startlingly attractive that everyone will flock to buy it?
be flying off the shelves like hotcakes, right? Well, that'll be an interesting discussion to have, because obviously our mountain has multi-facets. And I grew up watching the north side, and to everybody who lives in the Hood River Valley, that's Mount Hood. You go to the other side, they see the Timberline side, and that's Mount Hood for them. So it'll be a very good conversation to have determining a side. I would love to think about some sort of a hologram depending on which side you're looking at.